Hello and welcome to UPL Insights, a digital media series from UPL led by our friends, colleagues, and experts across the world. In this series, we bring together leaders in sustainable farming, food systems, and climate resilience to explore the challenges and developments defining the global agricultural landscape today. Across our global business, we believe that collaboration is at the heart of progress and that the technologies, ideas, interventions across our global footprint are worth sharing. In this episode, we are talking to some of the people leading our food system transformation inside and outside of UPL and exploring new and existing priorities alongside our shared commitment to resilience, trade, nourishment, and sustainable productivity. My name is Surbhi Kothari, and I'm based at UPL's headquarters in Mumbai, India. And today, I'll be speaking with Dhruv Sohane, Chief Operating Officer and Business Head at nurture.farm, to discuss one of the environmental and behavioral challenges at the heart of agriculture production in India and further afield. Every year, 5.7 million acres of rice paddy are deliberately burnt by farmers in Punjab and Haryana as a cheap, quick, and effective method of clearing straw and other residue from mechanically harvested fields in the short window between harvesting of rice and the planting of the wheat crop. The downsides of this practice are very clear. A massive increase in airborne pollutants, causing respiratory problems across North India, unnecessary greenhouse gas emissions, the degradation of soil nutrients, the loss of flora and fauna. It has been estimated that as much as 25% of New Delhi's air pollution results from stubble burning in the winter months. And in November, India's Supreme Court warned the pollution levels were so dangerous that drastic steps should be taken. But despite the many hazardous effects of stubble burning, its practice remains widespread. Governments have tried to stop the crop burning. Alternative methods and technologies have been pitched. In some places, bans and fines have been trailed, with some farmers jailed, but little has changed. nurture.farm, an agtech startup and subsidiary of UPL, is working to change this situation. Earlier this year, it launched the Crop Residue Management Program to develop, deploy, and scale an effective and sustainable solution to end the burn. nurture.farm has partnered with Indian Agricultural Institute to use Pusa decomposer, a bioenzyme developed by them on their farms that facilitates the decomposition of the stubble and eliminates the need to burn the crops. With over 400,000 acres of land enrolled in this program, this is the biggest and the most ambitious project that has ever been undertaken in India to combat this critical issue. And what's exciting is nurture.farm. So Dhruv, welcome to UPL Insights. I'd like to start by asking you a bit more about the issue of stubble burning in India. Why did this become such a focus for nurture.farm from the outset?
Thanks, Urbi. I think that's a great introduction. And what I'd like to start by saying is that Nurture is coming up to its second birthday, effectively, right? So Nurture is going to turn 2 in a couple of months. And about 12 months ago or 14 months ago, when we were still norming and forming as a team, we wanted to really focus our energies on building the next generation of sustainable solutions that would actually deliver significant impact and also help establish Nurture as a major brand, as a major agtech player that can solve some of these very complex problems, right? So, that's when we decided to focus on the issue of stubble burning. We had actually observed that the Delhi government had undertaken a similar exercise over 2,000 acres using the Pusa decomposer. So that kind of piqued our interest that if it can happen successfully for 2,000 acres, can we actually bring together the means and a solution set that can scale it beyond the 2,000 acres? And we took a really ambitious target of covering about 500,000 acres. Um, that allowed us to start thinking about sustainability, the next generation of practices, uh, helping convince farmers and introduce new solution sets, and bringing together multiple faculties to deliver that outcome. That actually became the breeding ground of how Nurture started thinking about solving complex problems at scale, and that really gave us a lot of momentum to everything else that we've undertaken since then.
Staying with stubble burning, why is it routinely performed, and why all government initiatives, as you mentioned earlier, and other projects have so far failed to eliminate its practice completely?
Yeah, it's a classical problem, right? I think the science and the technology to solve this problem has existed, but the execution and the implementation of the solution set hasn't been brought together in a more thought through way from a farmer standpoint, right? So if you think about the farmer, there are many in situ solutions and ex situ solutions, but all of them cost money. Also, some of the ex situ solutions are, require the farmer to invest upfront, such as, baling, and then find a certain buyer for the bales, and then maybe recover their money subsequently down the line, right? Um, Similarly, some of the in situ solutions that are available heavily depend on farm mechanization or government subsidies, and it's a viable solution, but it's a more cumbersome process and a longer process, and not a very scalable process. So what we try to do was we try to understand each of those friction points where the farmer was having to stop and think whether they could do it, whether they would spend, and we try to remove each and every one of those friction points. And in doing so, we've managed to incorporate two or three very successful technologies. We brought in the biodecomposer. We brought in farm mechanization to spray as well as to turn the soil. We brought in the digital platform where we had onboarded farmers digitally. Um, we brought in remote sensing where we looked at which farms were burnt the year before. We went into those same clusters, those same villages, onboarded those same farms onto our digital platforms, understood their sowing dates, the crop variety, their sowing patterns. So we could place our boom spraying machines in the right locations at the right time. We and so powering this complete solution set together actually made the big difference. It allowed us to create a shift from piecemeal solutions, which the farmers had to pay for, or didn't have the capacity to bring together themselves, to this being available as a completely free service to the farmer.
Now, tell me more about Nurture Farm's crop residue management program and your campaign to end the burn. What is Nurture doing differently to support farmers, increase their accessibility to solutions and mechanizations, and also to encourage them to adopt sustainable practices?
Yeah, no. So I think what we've done around crop residue is we've understood it's a very integral part of everything that the farmer does, right? So we've understood that the farmer has the same ambition as we do. They want to make sure that they get the best yield. They want to make sure that they run the operation efficiently. They want to make sure that they have the right access to technologies and infrastructure to get their job done. So as Nurture Farm, we are able to provide access to all of the above, right? So we are able to get farmers onto our platform. So we started this whole campaign last year in 2021 in the month of February or March, where we started onboarding farmers onto our platform, and we went literally village to village. We actually jump started this whole process with a brand new ground force team, which we call Krishi Mitras. They are an amazing, talented pool of people who come from the villages. They work on a completely 100% variable pay model. So we introduced the gig economy for the first time in rural India. And we trained them through our Nurture Academy, and we encourage them to go on board farmers, get them onto the platform, sign up for our service, enter their farm details, geotag the farms. So we had a lot of information up front, and we managed to onboard over 25,000 farmers in a couple of months, which added up to almost 500,000 acres. We actually had to stop the onboarding because we didn't have the capacity to do anymore, and so we were getting a lot of organic interest coming out of the villages where some farmers had already heard about this and onboarded onto the platform. So that was really encouraging. We actually also then powered this End the Burn campaign with a lot of marketing and education and awareness through different media. We had multiple radio campaigns. We had a lot of newspaper ads in local languages. We had wall paintings. We had village to village canvassing going on by the Krishi Mitras. And this engagement actually created a lot of excitement that there is something new, there is something exciting, and there is something that can actually happen. And what we found was that the farmers were very excited. They really wanted to, protect their soil. They didn't want to burn their fields. Through the growth phase, we kept sending them reminders that this is going to happen. And coming close to the harvest time, we drummed up the excitement again, and we did an outreach to all of these farmers who we had onboarded, and we started very closely keeping an eye on the harvesters and where the harvesting had begun, and we started following the harvesters along with our own onboarded farmers, and that really allowed us to have a very successful spraying of almost 450,000 acres through this period. And what was really exciting was we saw about a 92% adoption of this service, which means we sprayed 100 fields, 92 fields or 92% of the farmers did not burn their fields after taking our spray service. That's probably one of the highest adoption of a brand new practice, which is a regenerative, sustainable practice that anyone would have ever witnessed. That has given us a lot of encouragement and hope that farmers really want to do the right thing if they have the right solution available to them.
Definitely, and it is evident when you said more farmers were encouraged and wanted to join the program. Now, Dhruv, so you recently completed the first major pilot of tackling stubble burning. Talk us through the impact that you've seen in different areas.
Yeah, so as I just alluded to, right, I think the 450,000 acres that we managed to successfully spray, first impact straight away is we saw 92% adoption for the actual solution, right? So that's a very encouraging sign. We've seen that in addition to the adoption and of 92%, the farmers have also reported that they have used a lower amount of fertilizer in the subsequent sowing season, right? So almost a 25 to 30% lower fertilizer application, because now the soil naturally had more biomass, natural manure generated through the stubble that was incorporated into the soil. So more biomass, more good bacteria, more good fungi is leading to better soil health, and so a lower need for fertilizer. So there's a direct cost saving, there's a direct soil wellness impact in the right direction, as opposed to the wrong direction that was happening while burning. In addition, I think there is also this thing we've observed where our initial estimate was that the the decomposition would take somewhere between 20 to 25 days. Wherein in effect, we've seen that within 8 to 10 days, the entire stubble was decomposed and incorporated when it was sprayed and turned into the soil. So this allowed for some of the farmers to do some early intercropping, and they went on to sow a cash crop in like coriander or potato ahead of the wheat sowing. So that also resulted in additional income. The obvious, most biggest benefit is the impact on the climate and health of the citizens, not just in cities, but also the villages. So we've seen thousands of tons of carbon monoxide and over 1 million tons of other harmful gas emissions, particulate matter that would have otherwise gone into the atmosphere, has been completely eliminated, and that's a big win for all of us. So we are hoping that all of these positives are going to encourage everyone else to adopt this service as we go forward. The other side social impact is that through this initiative, as we introduce the gig economy, we've seen a lot of new job livelihood creation for a brand new workforce that wasn't part of this ecosystem before, and so rural employment has seen a massive boost. And last but not the least, we are hoping to now generate carbon credits from every acre that wasn't burned, and that will have another positive impact in terms of value creation, both for the farmer and for us being able to potentially pay for this service on a sustainable basis through this initiative. These are some of the most impactful things, and I think it kind of ticks all the boxes that one would hope to get for any such sustainable ag initiative.
Right. And having spoken about the impact, what do you think were the different technologies that have been brought together to make this successful compared to the previous attempts?
Yeah, I think the 3 or 4 things that made this quite unique was the combination of obviously the bio solution, which was developed initially by PUSA. We actually enhanced that from a capsule form, which required 2 weeks of preparation by a farmer, to an instant powder water soluble form. So that took away a lot of the friction and the effort that a farmer would have had to put in. In addition, we've also brought in farm mechanization at 2 stages. One is immediately post harvest spraying on the stubble for the biosolution. And the second is, we've encouraged the farmers to use some sort of an implement like a harrow or anything like that to turn the soil and incorporate this biomass into the soil for faster decomposition. We've also brought in multiple digital technologies. So we've brought in, our digital platform, geotagging, geofencing each farm, IoT devices that were used to create polygons for every field that was sprayed, remote sensing to monitor before and after the spraying event of the action on each field, and this is quite revolutionary in terms of really capturing and understanding the behavior and the impact of this regenerative practice and its adoption on every acre. So all of this is, these are multiple faculties we've been able to bring. We continue to evolve these, basis the learnings that we've had this year, and hopefully we'll get more ideas into the mix as needed.
Given the success of CRM program, what are the sustainable practices and approaches that Nurture Farm is going to drive in crops and techniques?
Yeah, so I think this is giving us a massive boost. We've now recognized that given the right incentive, given the right solution set, farmers are more than willing to adopt if it is presented in a convenient, easily understandable way. So we are definitely looking at scaling our CRM program this year in FY23 from previously done 500,000 to somewhere between 1 to 2 million. We're trying to figure how much we can scale it within this year. In addition, we're also looking at taking these similar practices to other crops in other regions. For example, sugarcane has similar challenges. There's a lot of straw and biomass that's generated that needs to be dealt with. Water is another challenge there. So there's multiple opportunities there. We're also working in paddy on AWD and DSR practices in multiple regions in AP and Telangana and other parts as well, where we believe there's a huge opportunity for us to incentivize farmers to drive greater adoption on a number of these practices.
And finally, what are the steps for scaling and improving access to this technology in India, as you mentioned some parts of it? And how do you see this program expanding to benefit farmers in other countries?
Yeah, so we're most committed to scaling this in India. There's a lot of excitement and interest, including from multilateral bodies, the government. Everyone's really excited, having seen the success, and we've published our impact report last month, which is really well received by many people. And so we hope to scale this to somewhere between 1 to 2 million in this coming year. In addition, it's quite exciting. We've already received inquiries from Vietnam, Thailand, Pakistan, and Nigeria for the same solution set, because all these countries are also experiencing very similar challenges. So it's really exciting for us at Nurture Farm to see that this solution is getting the recognition, and that there is a huge problem that we can solve for other people as well. Obviously, some of those plans will need to be figured out, but we're definitely exploring opportunities to take this internationally as well.
This is amazing, and it's the work that Nurture Farm and you, the team, are doing is greatly appreciated. Thank you to Dhruv for their insights into Nurture Farm's network to tackle stubble burning in India. For the full series of UPL Insights episodes, follow UPL Global on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.